What's up, world? It is your boy Tyrone Morgan. I'm here today with Is It Me segment. So I did one the other day. It was quite long about me. This one is impromptu, just going over some thoughts in my mind and some stuff that So one thing I found out about me, and I'm gonna get into this, and I'm sorry for the intro, but it is what it is. But I found out that I'm a concept thinker, and basically what that is when I get an idea, I find supporting facts. I find things that could disagree with what I think, because I know what I think is not always right. And I find some type of level of truth, which for me is my instruction manual. Hold on. There you go. The Bible. And so I found that helps keep me safe. But what I want to talk about, and I think we really gonna have to do a lot more on this. But men, there was a organization or a concept that God gave me about having a men's group called MOP, and it's man on purpose. It's being a man on purpose and be a man on his purpose. And so it's a double meaning, and it has an acronym MOP, because that's what we call it, MOP. And MOP is mop. And what does mop do? What does a mop do? It clean up messes. And so the tagline is cleaning up the mess of manhood. And I think that is a very insightful way to look at it, because manhood is most definitely in a mess. We have got to the point that we have given anybody, whether they're born or not, the ability to be a man, which is dangerous, because without the man, I think I hear other best say, without the seed carrier, there will be nothing else to carry, right? So if you get men to think you get men to think they're women and women to think they're men, you won't be able to procreate, and we will eliminate ourselves by the process of elimination, right? And I'm gonna be everywhere because this is no notes, it's just off the top of my head. But it's something that as a man we carry. Men are designated leaders by God. I go back to what I said the other day. When you read in creation, God created Adam, man first, right? So when man got into the when we got into the garden and Eve, woman, ate the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, nothing happened. Then when Adam partaken in the fruit, their eyes were open, which is a very good point that you need to hang your hat on there. And then God asked Adam first, what had he done? So that lets you know that man is put in place in the head of the family. And so we can trick the man or trick the woman to think that she can be a man and do everything a man can do. You have access for the enemy. I felt like Elder Best when I said that. You have access for the enemy, right? And so it's easier to attack the homes. The enemy have a way there because there is nobody in there that God has anointed to protect the family, right? So we have to realize that it ain't me, it is scripture. I'm not God. Got an issue with it, you need to take it up with him. But I'm going somewhere with this, because part of the reason why I feel like we experiencing some stuff now is, again, like I said before, a trick of the enemy to get men out of place. So I believe that even in our churches, we face the same type of issue. I believe that a lot of men are not a part of churches because they think they have to become do-boys for the pastor. Sound a little tough, but I just think that's what it is. Or their wives have idolized the pastor, and the pastor's voice is louder in the house than their own husband's voice is in the house, which is wrong. Your first and the most important part, your covenant is outside of God, is your spouse. No man should have a voice, not even your father should have a voice louder than your husband, because if you married him, he is anointed as your leader. A godly man. Man in general should be leading. And we have let the world or pop culture taking this thing to a place that it was never intended. I think we love to ride the swing of the pendulum. We'll swing from one side to the other side, and we never find a way to become balanced. Men used to treat women terrible. So now we swing all the way to the other side. And now women, have this idea that they can do everything a man can do. And you never hear a man say that he wants to do everything a woman do. You never hear that. So why is that? Sometimes you have to ask yourself these questions. You have to reverse engineer some things. Because the enemy knows. Even I was watching a podcast the other day, and they was talking about what do you call it? Well, welfare is the word I want to use because that's the first thing that popped in my mind. Welfare, and how it actually gave the recipients of welfare, it gave them a get out of jail free card, so they didn't need a man in the house. Then they made it so you couldn't get help if you had a man in the house. So technically what they were doing is taking the man out of place, which he has natural authority, God-given authority. Read your instruction manual if you got any questions about that. Start in Genesis and you'll see. So take him out of the way and we can attack the family. How many of us know people? I used to be one of those people that we grew up getting assistance from the government. And how were the kids? Better yet, most of the time when there's a father in the house, the mama can be fussing all day and she can be saying something all day. When the daddy walk in, he said it instantly gets done. There is an authority in a man's voice. So what does any of that have to do with church? Again, I feel like men are builders and leaders, right? So if you bring me into an environment that I only see benefit one person, why would I want to help build that? Ask yourself the hard question. Why would you want to be a part of being somebody's fanboy? And I think that's what happened in the Christian faith. I think we spend too much time trying to build a vision without building the people that's in the vision. This is something that the Lord gave me a long time ago. You should be able to see yourself in the vision that you're a part of, whether it's your family, whether it's your community, whether it's your church. You should be able to see yourself in that. So whatever the vision or whatever the purpose God has for your life, your vision comes into to complement the vision that you're under. We have to realize that. We have to start building people. Because if you think about it as a man, what is the greatest benefit? And I'm speaking, I go to church routinely, love my church, have a great church. But sometimes you have to point out some things that could be of error. And I think that's why women are more drawn to church, because we have we have Jesus Juniors in church, and they become this power structure or hungry man, and they end up having women or fans. You don't really see a lot of men like running around losing their mind when they see somebody they know that is famous, right? We have people that we admire, and we like, yo, there goes such and such, but you don't see us fan out. And so church is made for people to fan out most of the time. One voice for most of the stuff that goes on. We look to one person make the decisions. And so there's really nowhere for a man to find his own spot to lead in a way to help. So when a man don't feel needed, you don't find him a part of stuff. Even in his own family. I'm just telling you, if a woman always overruling that man will get to the point that he ain't gonna want to hear it. He gonna say, well, you don't never listen to what I gotta say anyway. I'm gonna let you carry on because you got it figured out. Like I said, this is impromptu and it's just some thoughts I was just having. But like men are builders. We are created to build. So what am I building? And what is the benefit of what I'm building? Is it making me a better leader? Is it making me a better man? Or is it stroking somebody else's ego that don't listen to nothing we have to say? We have to ask the hard questions. There is a reason why men, if you go to the Muslim faith, they have very strong men in that faith. Jesus, maybe his deity may be a lamb, but he's also a lion. And so I think if you dive more into that side, you will start to draw more men out. How is this benefiting me and my family so we can become better men and women and children of God? How is that benefiting? You give me the word, I got to follow you around like a 2-year-old little kid, don't have no input, don't have no say-so. That ain't how men operate. You have to pay attention to the need of men. And if you can get men back in the church, you can fix a lot of things that we have wrong. And men, you got to get over your feelings too. Find you somewhere that will show you who you are and help build you also while you help build what God has given for the vision of the church that you act. That's it. You got to have somebody who will. Men need to be mentored, discipled. Christ had the disciples around him for 3 years. They were with him a lot. If not, I think all the time, really. And that's important. You have to be around people who are solid. People who don't see you as a number. People who care about who you become. Because in actuality, when we have stronger men, we got stronger communities. And when we got men in church, we got families that are, the temperature is set for the man of God in that house so that God is the head of the house. So we got to get men. The problem with the world is that men are out of place. And then you get cancel culture that try to cancel you when anybody try to talk about this. Counsel me. Because this is what I do know. The Lord wants me to bring attention to this because he is constantly dealing me with this stuff. And so I'm tired of not talking about it. I know I got 2 beautiful daughters and I want them to be everything that God created them to be. I do. But I'm not going to teach them that they don't need a man. I'm not. I want you to be able to be an adult. Adults take care of themselves. Don't make you a man because you can take care of yourself. It makes you an adult. But I want them to find somebody who align with what God has showed them who they are. But we have allowed culture to dictate way too much stuff to us. You got to think some of the reason we don't have teachers is because of the money they make. And so if we listen to culture, you are what your financial status tells you. And that's simply not the truth. So we lose good teachers because of bad pay. Community leaders. We don't have time to have good community leaders because the good men that's out there, they so busy trying to make a living so their family can live a certain way, so they can feel a certain way about themselves because culture has dictated to us what success is. Money, more problems, in the words of Puff. baby, Biggie. But anyway, I'm just telling you, it's just so important for us. And it's not a knock on a woman because I salute the women that do it on their own, that are put in situations that men don't help. And the men, it's not an excuse for you because you ain't never know what a good dad was or you never had one. It's not, sir. It's all about effort and trying. Try. I did not know what I was doing when I started, but I knew that my children didn't ask to be here and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. Figure it out. They might not have everything they want, but they're not missing meals. I might not have everything I want, but I have to take care of my children. It is what it is. And I just believe that until we start making valiant efforts to make sure that we speak to these things in a way that may hurt somebody's feelings. It is what it is. It's not a knock. It's a reestablishing what God put in place. And so now, over the years, you moved men out of the way. Now everybody is confused. You can be anything you want now. You can be a cat, even though you're a human being. You can identify as a woman and look just like a man because you feel that way. That is some ridiculous stuff. I feel this way. I'm surprised nobody ain't felt like a car and they saw walking down the highway in the middle of the road. I mean, what? So how much sense is it for us to be able to say, I feel like, let's say I feel like I feel like water. So now I'm water. Or I feel invisible. And I walk around you and you talk to me, I'm like, you can't see me, I'm invisible. And you can see me. But I tell you I'm invisible. What? You see the logic behind that line of thinking? And we so scared to get counseled, but we don't even call this stuff out. It's foolishness. And it is not from God. It is foolishness. They, them, all that stuff is crazy. It makes no sense. And why? I believe a lot of times it's because you don't have the voice of a good, strong man in the house. I think that's a lot of times. So you operate in your feelings. And we got to just stop that stuff. And we can't continue to, they can say whatever they want and you can't never say nothing. And look, I'm not a hater. I don't hate people. I love people. I know that God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son to die for us on the cross. You will always get compassion from me. But I always have to give you direction too, or correction. I can't, you won't hear me beat you across the head with it, but I can't say I agree with that. I just can't. Because my instruction manual don't say it is so. But it always tells me I have to have compassion and know how to love you until I can gain understanding. That I have. But I don't agree with all that stuff. I just don't. There's not a line of thought that I've heard that will make me even think about it, because once I hear what their feelings is and what my feelings is, I go back to the manual. And it's based on truth. What God said. God created man and wombed man. And sex was created for procreation. And two wombs can't procreate. And two men can't procreate. But I still love you. And I'm here for you. And I'm going to do anything I can to help you see who Jesus is in your life. And I'm going to rock with you as long as you're trying to figure this thing out. You just will, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to sow enough seeds that eventually the ones will sprout up so the Lord can do what he do in your heart. That's my job, to sow and water. But anyway, I'm going to get back to this man thing, because I think until we make it, we've had red pill, blue pill, all the other crap that don't, it's ridiculous. Some of the stuff they be teaching and that stuff. But women are not objects. Oh, that made me think. So if you think about it, when women started having this independent woman thing, listen, independent. If you say I'm an independent woman, you are professing your singleness. That part, you're professing your singleness. I'm a single woman. I'm an independent woman. You professing your singleness, and that's probably the reason why you're single, because you keep speaking it over your life. It is not a band. You don't hear men going out saying I am an independent man. It's just not so, because it's something that we wired to do. It's kind of like a man Women hear man say he doing chores in the house, and you look at him like, so I do that all the time. I wash clothes, I clean the house, I wash dishes, I do this, I do that. Why is that a big deal to you? Why do you think you done something? And that's how I feel about the women that say they take care of themselves. Men do it all the time. Most of us anyway, I can't say all of us. But we have to be careful with the words we say of ourselves. Why do you train women that they can do everything that a man can do? Because they can't. I'm just sorry. It is something that you're going to have to come to grips with, because a man know he can't do everything a woman does. I just should have went live instead of recording this thing. I didn't know if I was going to have to be up here this long, or I need to edit something because I got stuck. But it's just flowing. Anyway, we just going to have to do better with the way we think and the way we see things. Like, do you sit back, some of the stuff you hear on TV, instead of you coming into an agreement with it, do you sit and think about why they saying this stuff? If you dig behind the scenes, they're painting a narrative to get you to buy into. If you can't procreate, there is nobody being born to do the Lord's work. We are his hand and feet on this earth. So if nobody is being born, and we can trick everybody so they can be whatever they want to be, you have taken away their identity, so they can't do the work they're supposed to be doing while they're here. And you're going to make it so you can't create nobody that's able to do the work that they're supposed to do. Eventually, you see that this stuff is starting to be a thing. And instead of us attacking the fruit, we need to get to the root. We love to sit and talk about what they have on TV, what narrative they're painting, while we sit back in our comfortable church houses, in our comfortable homes, and do absolutely nothing about it. Because if anybody who do go out into them areas that's Christian, we crucify them. Because we don't agree with them being in them areas. Why? If you love God, why are you in these areas? You are a light of the world. Light should never be scared of darkness. Do the work that you need to stay a bright light. Just because you've been delivered from the environment don't actually mean you've been delivered from what you're struggling with. Get delivered. Do the work. I don't know. I just want us to get to the point, and I'm gonna do probably a lot more of these. You probably hear me speak on this stuff a lot more in the upcoming weeks, because I really think I worked on a couple things, and I've been, just marinating and thinking about it, and I just want to go live. But I'm gonna really start dropping some stuff, because we need to handle this stuff. We need to talk about it. Man, you got to quit being scared to say it, because somebody gonna counsel you, sir. They promote all their other foolishness and rhetoric every day, all day. People sit on it and marinate in this stuff, and then they become mobilized. Is idiot's a bad word? I don't know. Maybe it's a bad word. I don't know. I don't want to call them nothing that defame them, but they become these people who are motivated based on what they sat and stewed in, and now they believe the stew is in their mind. And so it's stuff that all the time that you see that it's really quite foolish. It just is. And I think that's the reason why you see people get older and older when they get married, because we got so much information out there and so much stuff you can look at, and you can always say you're not ready. So think about it. The older you are when you marry, the less likely you are to have kids, or have kids in wedlock. So again, it's pushing out the time frame that you're able to have kids, because we won't make decisions, because we always trying to find a better thing when you can have a good thing that just needs to be worked on. And because my friends say this, or social media say you need this, look, there is not going to be a bunch of men making six figures. It's just not. Women do it. Women are created for help, so they're able to do a lot of things well. You must realize that. Can some men do it? Yeah. But we need some men who are not so focused on money that they can't do stuff, not just for their own family, but for their communities also. We need men in the communities. Men set order. It is written. That's what we do. And so we need to get in the neighborhoods with these young men. Young men are being raised by women, and they are a little too much in tune. They in touch with their feelings. Men should be in tune, but not led by their emotions. You should know how you feeling and why you feeling that, and be able to deal with that thing. Men that's not in tune with their emotions make bad decisions because they become stoic, unemotional, scared to show emotion, because it makes you seem like you're weak, especially in the black community. Yeah, how many black men they smile sometimes. Daggone, it ain't that bad. I don't know. I'm somewhere everywhere with this today. But I do want to start, honestly, I do want men to start talking about these things and stop. I think if we quit trying to do so many things individually and quit worried about who leading and who get the credit, we'll be able to do a lot more stuff. We'll be more impactful. Everybody's worried about who get credit. So you see churches start doing it. Somebody else start doing it, they start doing it. And so you have this back and forth instead of us just coming together to do it. Like singles, people that single, there are a lot of single people that go to church. Why don't we just have an event? You ain't got to have it at nobody's church. We can just get a bunch of people together, and have an event. But so everybody wants to have credit. We need organizers. We need people to make the events go. And every event that somebody that's saved go to, let me say this while I'm here, don't have to be a church program. It just don't. I love God. Read every day. Talk to him every day. Pray every day. I study on things that he gives me to study on. And I try my best to hear his voice and listen and move the way he wants me to. But everything ain't got to be a church program just because church people are involved. Jesus went to wedding. The Jewish people are some of the most celebrating people there is. I'm just saying. I don't know what else to say to that, but I want us to realize that sometimes we can do that stuff. And sometimes drawing men in is going to be different than what you do to draw women in. Like I said, women are designed to look for a protector, a provider. And so when they go to church, that's why they see that stuff in their pastor. And then they come home saying what the pastor say and don't even respect what the man of the house say. It is foolishness. Women, if you listen to your pastor more than you listen to your husband, there's something wrong with you. Start praying for your husband. If he ain't a man of God, pray for that man. Maybe if you listen to him a little more and he know that you care and value what he say, maybe he'll start seeing the things that you say about God. And I'm not putting this stuff on women again, but I'm just saying, I think that is, and I know people who do it, but I think it is foolishness and it is not what God designed for the house. Anyway, I think I'm rambling a little bit now, and I've been up here like 30 minutes. So I don't know. I got plenty more to say. I ain't gonna say I don't know what else I need to say, but I want to kind of get it formatted. But I just wanted to get on this stuff and speak on it. Just something that's been really in my heart. I really think the man, I think it, so you hear, on something totally different, deconstruction of the church. So anything that you deconstruct doesn't mean that you tear it down and leave it down. Sometimes you only have to deconstruct a section, tear out a section of the house and build it back on a different kind of foundation. Some houses need to be tore all the way down and then redo the foundation, then rebuild on top of that. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I think it's something that we have married an idea of what we think church should be. and we marry that idea, and we've never grown in that. And anybody that know anything about a covenant relationship, it should grow. That formed a church that we did were great in the 80s, but it started dying down, all the way down. And so what happens is you get people who go to churches and think they can't hear from God. They don't have a good grasp on reading the word, and they should wait for somebody to go out here and read, and so we can stand on the foundation that they built. And so when storms hit, we don't have nothing to stand on because it's not in us, because we don't read. We don't know God for ourselves. We don't have a relationship with God. And relationship is the thing that changed my life more than anything else in this world. I was with a pastor who loved God, had a relationship with God, and he taught us how to have a relationship with God. Changed my life in the way I see church, and I know God has given me things to see that will help shape the perspective that he's given me. But I just think it's time for change. I think the model of church is flawed. And I think just because I'm saying it's flawed don't mean that you shouldn't be going to one. You should be part of the reason it changes by having tough conversations. You really need men in church. Men, we have been wired by the Father to be leaders, to be providers. You know, they are some men who feel shame because they feel like they can't provide for their kids, so they rather not even be in their lives and let somebody else raise them because they can't provide them. That's a real thing. Some of it is an excuse. Some men really think that way. And it's the truth. Because it's scary. Especially when you don't have nobody to tell you what to do. Nobody won't take the time with you. And most times you don't want to listen because you don't want nobody else telling you what to do. Because you got it figured out. That's why you need to walk with these men. Teach them a way. Help pull out what's in them. Because really when it's benefiting them as a person, they're more likely to listen to what you have to say. If I'm learning, teaching you how to build yourself up, why wouldn't you listen? I don't need duplicates when you create disciples. Disciples think for themselves. And what we have created is a bunch of mindless followers, fans, fanatics, is what fans is short for, that would follow you anywhere. And that's why you see these cults, why they work. Anyway, we've been out here too long. I'm about to piece this thing out, and I may go ahead and just send it out. I don't know. I may just send it out. But anyway, peace out. Be a light.